the frustrating element is it takes away a layer of competitiveness for the Champions League. And we spoke about this on Straight Facts this afternoon, that City are the outright favourites. You've probably then got Real Madrid. I don't remember the Champions League being in a position where you have one or two teams that you look at as, they could win it. And then everybody else, you just go, I don't see how.
Inter Milan, I throw in the top three.
Inter Milan could, a lot of people are bringing them up. That's true.
The problem with that is Inter Milan play Atletico Madrid. If I'm Real Madrid, Man City, or one of those, whoever comes out of that, I'm begging for a Bayern Munich draw. I think all of those teams will beat Bayern Munich at the home ground. And because, on a side note, Terry, I think I think UEFA have also ruined this by taking away goals as well. That thing about, I think they've ruined it by not having that element on it. And some
wouldn't have helped Bayern tonight, but yeah,
I know, but they should bring that back on the side. But if I'm Atletico Inter Milan, Real Madrid or Man City, Bayern Munich's, I don't fear going to Bayern Munich. I go.
Well, I'm a Lazio fan,
and that's a Chelsea fan saying it.
No, not as me.
No, I know.
No, I know. I even like Stoles was saying, people might laugh like Arsenal would beat this Bayern Munich at the Emirates. I'm pretty sure they would beat them at the Emirates. Away they might not need to beat them because they beat them so badly at the Emirates. Do you know what I mean? Because away goals don't count. So I don't fear this. This, like I said, this has got to be the worst Bayern Munich team since we beat them in 2012. The way it's set up, it's got to be the worst.
Certainly is, and you look at it, and Inter Milan got a chance, as you say, but outside of that, realistically, that's why when people say that Arsenal have no chance, I think it's crazy because
no chance. Yeah,
that's Arsenal. Look,
far.
When you actually look at the teams in there, you go, who's better? You're probably going to put Real Madrid. You're going to put Man City.
100%.
You could put Inter. I know some people do. Outside of that, how many teams left in it are genuinely better than Arsenal? Objectively speaking, how many are better than Arsenal in your opinion?
Paris Saint-Germain, you could throw that argument.
I don't know.
You have Kylian Mbappe, if you took Kylian Mbappe on Lazio, we might do something. You know what I'm saying? He is that kind of player. He really is that kind of player.
But even like Napoli have fallen off a cliff this season. So you wouldn't even think Napoli are there. They should.
Barcelona are a non-factor. To be honest, it's soft.
It's a great time. It's a great time if you're a decent team to be in the Champions League. And I'm taking nothing away from who wins it this year or last year or next year. Yeah. But this isn't like in my life. I can't speak for the 80s and the 70s and 60s because I wasn't alive. But in the 90s and the noughties, that's all from the early 90s right through until 2010, 2011, 2013, every year it felt like, even if you just look at the English teams in that period, the two or three English teams every year were considered, they've got a chance. Always Barcelona, Real Madrid, and often another Spanish team, Valencia at times, Deportivo at times. There's always two or three. Germany always had a couple of teams that could win it. France in the 90s, France and Holland had teams. Marseille. There was genuinely a chance of winning it. Now you look at it and it's so top heavy where you've got one or two really good teams and everybody else. And I'm not saying it takes away from winning. It doesn't mean you're not the best team in Europe. But I do hope that over the next few years, some of these other teams start to build genuine squads that are dangerous. And I'm not, again, as a Man United fan, my team ain't good enough. I know that we're not. But I'm just talking about from an outsider looking in. I'd love there to be some draws where I go, I don't know who's going through today.
I tell you what,
the best teams. Now you get it with Inter and Atletico, but if Inter Milan were playing Man City, if anyone was playing Man City in the knockouts, we just go City.
You can make a case for Inter Milan because look at it.
Over two legs?
It would depend. I think it would depend the order of where's the first leg, where's the second leg.
Good point.
I don't think it matters.
If they survive if Inter Milan went to the Etihad, let's say, and got 2-1 loss, maybe you go back to the San Siro. We've seen Man City against obviously Real Madrid are a far better side, but the point is they've gone away from home and messed up against Real Madrid when they had the 3 goals and it felt like 10 seconds to be honest. But the Inter one would be interesting. But yeah, outside of that, like Man City would walk all over Bayern home and away. We wouldn't, if Lazio played Man City. I think we'd defend well for a little bit, but eventually the dam would break. But
I look forward to seeing a Real Madrid Man City game over 2 legs this year, as they've got a bit, with Jude Bellingham in there. It's one of those things. It's why I almost want, if you put Mbappe in that Real Madrid team, that extra pace. I thought last year they lacked speed, and I still think they may be lacking a little bit of that at Real Madrid.
Terry, if I'm UEFA, I'm making sure that when they do the draw, make sure that the temperature on them to keep City and Madrid away from each other until the final, because otherwise it's just going to
that would make it more interesting. That would make it more interesting.
Interestingly, Gunnar Souls, I've got a question for you. Would you fancy playing City in a one-off game in a final or over 2 legs? What do you think is the best chance of Arsenal beating City?
You know what? Yeah, controversial. This is at Wembley. Wembley's our second home. We've won a lot at Wembley. Yeah, it's at Wembley this year. So,
that's true.
You know what? Might be a hot take. If we can make that final, we win the Champions League against any team.
I would rather play Man City in a one-off.
But like I said, we have to get to the final first. That's
Madrid don't mind Wembley themselves. They got a good record at Wembley themselves.
City's got quite a good recent record at Wembley as well.
Yeah.
You don't get beat at Wembley. That's the thing.
Do you know what, Souls? I actually hear that. I think that's a solid piece of logic. The understanding of it, the feel of it, the dressing rooms, the familiarity will be there. I just feel with City. Yeah, I've been thinking about this a lot today. I'm like, over the course of 2 legs, again, depending on the order of those 2 legs, if Arsenal were home in the second game and they don't lose by a heavy margin in the first one, I think you can knock them out. I feel like on a one-off game on a big pitch with the way Pep plays, I feel like they might get it done. However, I didn't even. I'll be honest with you, I forgot it was at Wembley, so I think it's a fair point there, Souls.
Terry, right? We were 1-0 down. Everyone thought, City's beating us again. Then what happens very late into the game, 87th minute, Trossard comes on and scores. It brought to 1-1 and we beat them on penalties. But point being is Wembley is one of them stadiums that I look at and go, that's where we have the mental edge. That's the game where the players know this is our second home. Because every time we've gone there, we've delivered. Look at the COVID season, for example. Our season was a write-off. What happened? Aubameyang magic moments, right, against Chelsea and against Man City, by the way. So every single time, for some reason, that Wembley pitch gives us powers. I don't know what it is. But I say it now, if we make that final, it's the same way like I call England in the internationals, right? Make a Wembley final. The chances are 90% of the time they're winning that.
Can I argue the Champions League curse against you? Can it work against you? Can the Champions League work against that Wembley magic?
What if you somehow played Barcelona? Let's say Barcelona somehow, bribed their way to the final somehow, some way. Because that Barca team ain't that good. What if you play Barca? Barca have Wembley heritage too, They do.
I'll be honest with you though. There's lots of teams that say Arsenal make the final. Okay, say they do. If they're in the final against, I'm just going to name the teams that are still in it. If they get, they're not going to. It's not going to be PSV. But if it's PSV, Dortmund, Porto, Barca, Lazio, Sociedad, even PSG, in my opinion, Copenhagen, they're going to go out. Leipzig, I think they beat all of it. The only teams like Madrid, City,
Inter Milan
are the only 2 where I outright go. I'd definitely have them as favourites. Inter Milan, it's very close, very close to me. Madrid. Very close. Outside of that, Barca. I think Arsenal and Barcelona right now, as things stand, in a one-off game, Arsenal wins in England. Arsenal wins. There's no doubt about it.
Arsenal slapping.
At the same time, I'll be honest with you, no matter what we say, I just can't look beyond. I don't want to say this because they could do another treble, but I just can't look beyond City. We haven't watched the other half play yet, their first leg game, but having watched the Champions League all year, many games from it, the one team that just stands out week in, week out above everybody are those sons of bitches. They're so damn good, but winning it back to back, it's so rare. It's so rare to do it. That's almost the saving grace. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting one.
Terry, you need Arsenal to win this league title, man. You can't have us win the league title because we matched your league title count.
Look, I get that, but I'd much rather you match our league titles and then do a 4-peat, because at some point we can win more league titles. It's not as difficult. Winning league titles is not as difficult as doing a 4-peat. Like the 4-peat. The 4-peat hurts every single one of us because it's a record that maybe none of us will ever get. If they do a 4-peat with a back-to-back treble, we are all done and in the mud. So there shouldn't be a single person this year if they understand what we're fighting for as football clubs to be the best out there that should be rooting for City in any capacity because they set those records. Yes, they have less trophies than Man United and Liverpool collectively, but they would then have this team becomes the greatest English team of all time, and in my opinion, it will never be surpassed. I don't see another English team winning what they've won in 7 or 8 years, including a four-peat, with back-to-back trebles. It's never happening again. So so for me, listen, anyone but City for me this year, as my team's rubbish. Banter on the pitch here says Arsenal have not lost at Wembley in 10 years. That's crazy. That's a crazy stat. Really is. Super happy that there's no away goals anymore. Now we are seeing what teams are made of. They don't sit back anymore.
Oh, no, we did.
What?
No, we definitely did.
What?
We definitely
I feel like it makes you sit back more because
we played a very excellent game defensively.
It's like when you have the advantage of an away goal, you don't want to concede. That's the main point of it. But right now, because it doesn't really matter, that's still the point remains is you want to get the best result at home and do the best you can away. So I don't think it really changes anything.
No, because I always remember when there's away goals, everyone would go, "Oh yeah, if you get a 0-0 draw away, no, that's one of the worst results to get a 0-0."
Yeah, you had to try and score. And equally, like I hated it when it was on. I now miss it now that it's gone. I agree.
Jeopardy,
and
right?
I'll give you an example. If Real Sociedad would have scored right near the end there, the whole result changes complexity. If Bayern Munich have a terrible night like tonight and they score a scrappy goal at the end, the whole night changes. And I think that's what I love about it, that one goal changes everything so dramatically at times. And look, when we won it in 99, I remember I want to say we drew 1-1 at Old Trafford against Juve, brilliant Juve team. We went 1-0 and 2-0 down really early. But it didn't really change too much because we needed 2 goals. When they scored, we needed 2 goals to go through. When they scored a second goal, we still only needed 2 goals to go through because of what away goals count for. And that jeopardy in changing it makes it so interesting where it doesn't matter if we conceded another one. We just got to score 2. It changed the mentality. So I do miss it now that it's gone. I really do. This year, he says Premier League bias is crazy, except City. Other teams are bums.
We didn't say that.
Yeah, what?
We didn't say that.
We've been literally praising Inter Milan the whole time.
Yeah.
And I'm giving Inter third favorites tag.
There we go. All my fellow Arsenal fans getting carried away, possibly too soon. As long as Arteta doesn't bench Trossard as a false 9, we might do well in the Champions League. But if Jesus and Nketiah play, we won't.
Jesus' record in the Champions League is fine. He was actually one of the main reasons why City even had a chance against Madrid when they got knocked out.
I agree. Question here. I'm going to throw this one to Souls. Is Mbappe worth £1 million a week in salary?
Give him £2 million a week. That guy is a guaranteed you're winning everything. Even with City can cheat more. Give him double the cheating power. You're still winning more than them because you've got Mbappe. This guy, look at the World Cup. Mbappe had no right to score a hat-trick. There was nothing. The whole game, the man was marked out of the game. That game was done for Argentina. And this guy goes and casually scores a hat-trick. It wasn't even a case of he tried to score it. Man just casually does it. And then today, look at the goal he scores today. You want to play deep, play deep. If you want to play him on the wing, play him on the wing. The guy scores or assists or does something out of nothing. There's very little players who do that.
He's going to score 50 goals in all comps, by the way. He is actually at his most. I don't think footballing-wise, this is his best season based off what I watch in Liga, Coupe de France, and Champs. I don't think it's his best footballing season, but he's lethal. He's going to score. He already has 30 goals in about 25 games in all comps, 30. He'll get 50. And that'll be his best ever season.
30 goals in 20. No, it's changed now. It's 30 goals in 29 games.
Yeah, so he'll get 50. He'll get 50, and then you can do the assists. He's
certainly on the way to that. Kane loves golden boots, just doesn't like silverware. This is true. Joyce here says, very sad to watch Bayern. FC Copenhagen showed more chest despite 8 weeks of break. Let's not be carried away by PSG. They are allergic to the Champions League.
You mentioned FC Copenhagen, by the way. They drew away to Bayern in the group stage. So
Yeah,
I
look,
don't actually. Again, if FC Copenhagen don't fear Bayern away, why should I? With Lazio, why?
it's a great point.
So,
You weren't scared of Sporting or Villarreal, but they beat you. Champions League games isn't about who's scary. It's just about getting it done in 2 legs.
some truth to that.
Do you know what it is, right? And this again might be controversial, but I don't think they gave a shit about the Europa League. That's how I've seen those 2 games. Because when you look at the mentality of wanting to win a Champions League, it's different to wanting to win a Europa League. When they play, like when Saliba was playing, you're playing casual. He wasn't really giving it a go. A lot of the time, they just wanted to go for the spectaculars. I think the mentality when they play in a Champions League game, and we've seen it in the group stage, by the way, as well. These guys we've had our best performances in the group stages of the Champions League than we have even against lower oppositions in the Premier League. So I just think the mentality is different.
I agree last season because you were always going to get Champions League football league position. The seasons before that, though, when you weren't guaranteed like top 4 places, that's when you probably should have gone for it more. That's when the mentality should have been, we aren't guaranteed a top 4 spot. Let's go for it. Do you know what I mean? Last season, no problem because you were always in the top. You were top for most of the season, so it's okay to throw away because let's face it, you're only in Europa League. You're only going to win Europa League to get into the Champions League. That's all it's there for. That's all it's there for, really. You only win it because of that. You don't win it to add to go. Yeah, I've won the Europa League. You win it because you go to the Champions League. The last 2 times we were in it, we slept walk through it. You know what I mean? We just
No, I hear you there. This year says Arsenal lost the 2018
Carabao
Cup under City.
That's right, yeah.
It's Arteta's who is undefeated at Wembley, both as a player and manager. There we go. As much as I love Barca, there is no way we are winning the next 2 games. Yeah, Barca are in trouble, aren't they? They're in trouble.